This is No Face Bigfoot, and welcome to my pickups video for Friday, June 7th, 2019. I just received a package from Rock 30 Games with a bunch of Atari games, a couple PlayStation games, and also I received this from Amazon. I only paid $8 for it. It's like the old Coleco football games from the late 70s and early 80s. I had one that was like this, that wasn't by Coleco, and then I owned the Coleco football game that was like this long, and you could play two players on it simultaneously. You could also pass the ball in there. So, you know, this is a great classic, and this is just like what they put back in the old days when I was in elementary school. Anyway, for the main event here, this is what came in. First, two PlayStation. This is the Midway Classics, I believe, here that I ordered. So, it's for the PlayStation 1. I can't remember what games are on there. I believe that's the one with Defender, Stargate, which is Defender 2, and some other games. Okay. And then there was a follow-up to 2084, which I can't remember off the top of my head. I'll put that in another video. And it was actually one of my favorite video games because it emulated 3D pretty well for the time. And it actually was a game where they had supposed to have a 3-mile long spaceship that you was going to go up against, but they took it out because there wasn't enough ROM or memory to do it at the time back in the early 80s. Okay. And television classics. And this is kind of hard to play with a PlayStation controller because they used a little dial pad and had 9 numbers for the controller that you would hit. So, and was it 2 or 4 buttons on the side? So, anyway, let's get to what I ordered. Woohoo! M Network, baby. Burger Time. This is one of my favorite arcade games on the Atari conversions. Wasn't as good as the original game, nor was it as good as the Intellivision version, but it's still a pretty good game. The object of Burger Time is to make burgers, squash eggs, and hot dogs. Next up, Astro Blast, aka Astro Smash. Another M Network conversion. Fun game, but only in short bursts. Game lasts too long because it's too easy until you get later on in the game. It's kind of like Asteroids with Space Invaders twists. Okay. Next up, Tron Deadly Discs. This was released in the arcades as a separate game from the original Tron because they couldn't fit it into the original Tron game. They actually had sit-down cabinets for this. They had one at Fort Meade, Maryland, at the arcade there at the Army base. Completely different from the game because in the actual arcade game, it's actually 3D. In this is a 2D plane. Alright. Okay. Centipede. Excellent arcade conversion. Nothing like what they did with Pac-Man. Next up, Asteroids. The killer app for the Atari 2600. Fantastic game. Beautiful graphics, colorful, and everything. Video pinball. And I'll be honest with you, Intellivision had a superior version of pinball. Midnight Madness came out years later, but that's when the Nintendo came out. Here's another favorite of mine. Crystal Castles. Now, the conversion is actually very good considering it's Atari. Again, it doesn't really compare to the original because you had a trackball for the original. But it's still an excellent game. This was previewed on the game show Starcade quite a bit, which came on TBS. Alright, here's the one I was looking for. And again, another excellent conversion for the Atari 2600. Moon Patrol. They used to have that at 7-Eleven, at Jeff Davis, and what was it? Bell's Road. They had in there. Plus they had a Joust in there. And a Joust 2 at one time. Okay. More excellent conversions. Junior Pac-Man, except this is vertically scrolling, whereas the original is horizontally scrolling. Okay. Super Breakout. Pretty decent game, but again, you need the paddle for that one. Much superior to the original Breakout. And this has several variations on it, including having multiple balls at the same time. It's a good game for if you want to play like 10 to 15 minutes in a quick spurt. Here's another one. Simulation game. Star Master. Has Activision on it. This is one of my favorite simulation games from the early 80s. You're on a spaceship, you have limited resources. If you get hit, you have to go back and, get your ship fixed or whatever. You can lose your lasers, your shields. And they had 4 different levels on there, so you could play as easy as you want or as difficult. Next up, Frogger. Again, another excellent conversion to the Atari 2600. In fact, this is my favorite version of Frogger, because in the arcade version, it's kind of clunky. And in most versions, he moves clunky. In this, Frogger is super quick. There are 10 levels before it rolls back over to the first one. My score on it was like 6,000 or 7,000. And it was a very tough game. Another conversion here, Berserk. Again, it makes it sound like there are a lot of great conversions from the arcade to the Atari. Believe me, there weren't. Just check out Donkey Kong Jr., and Pac-Man. And this is the one where you have, the smiley face chasing you. It's very creepy, and it's based on the guy who made the game. His boss' name was Otto, and they called him Evil Otto, so they made a smiley face at him, and he chases you. Alright, next up. Missile Command. I never owned this for the Atari 2600. Now, it's supposed to be based on the early 80s during the Cold War with Reagan against the Russians, which actually lasted, from the 60s to the late 80s to when the Russian republics, went independent and they tore down the wall in Berlin. So this game has political connotations to it, although they just kind of imply it. Again, it never says in the game, that it's Russian United States, but you can insinuate that. Space Invaders. This is kind of a killer app. You could fry the game, the Atari, and what they mean by that, turn it off and on real quick, and you could shoot twice and just absolutely destroy the game. The score always flipped over 99, 99, 99. You can even have invisible invaders on here. So, that was a fun game when I was growing up. And finally, top 3 games of Atari. Yari's Revenge. This was based on an arcade game, except this one was a lot different. You had a zone in the middle, which you couldn't be hurt. You had was it a quotile, whatever. And you had to shoot the ship on the other side of the screen. My high score on this was about 450,000. There are people who scored millions on it. So, anyway, that's my collection that I just got from Rock 30 Games. And on my next episode, I'm going to show you some of the stuff that I've collected over the last year. Okay. My Atari 26, and then from Lord Carnage himself, unsubscribed about YouTube channels. Woo! And Ethel the Cyborg. Anyway, I'd like to thank you for watching this video. If you like it, hit that thumbs up button. If you haven't done so already, hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching this video. Have a good weekend.